Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
Hi, this is Ed Cohen, your broadcast host on Global TV Talk Show. This is a news service of globalbusinessnews.net, which is our holding company website, globalbusinessnews.net. It's been active since '03. According to Google Analytics, they say, if we can believe all that, they say that we've had over 1.2 million reader page views on the sites since '03, including this year, a little over 75,000 reader page views. Our special guest today is certainly going to help us get even more of the senior level, brainier type of people and those interested in, is your brain wired for success? If not, we're going to learn how to do it. Let's welcome Dr. Jan Colestro, who represents neurochangesolutions.com. Pardon me for reading this. I want to make sure I get it right. And she wants to discuss with us organizational or team issues, struggles, pain points that will correct deficiencies and open up our minds to new thinking. Hello, Dr. Jan Colestro. Welcome.
Hey, Ed. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Well, this is very cool, and Happy New Year. So I'm reading that you have a doctorate in nursing science, and you have done NIH, which is what, National Institute of Health?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and research on how and when we shift out of fight or flight, we free up the mental space for new choices and become our best selves. So, doctor, tell us what that means in English.
So, when I was doing my dissertation research, I focused on what happens with what they call autonomic balance. And our autonomic nervous system is the nervous system that controls the fight or flight versus our parasympathetic, which is rest and repair, activities in our body. And when you look across a group of people, it happens to be distributed on a normal bell curve. And I decided, what if children that we call oppositional behavior, ADD, attentional problems, hyperactivity, are actually just on that tail end and behaving as if they're walking down the dark alley. Now imagine this with me. You're walking down a dark alley and you hear a dumpster lid slam. What happens? You jump. You overreact. Yes, that's natural. But let's say you do this in the middle of the grocery store. It's considered to be abnormal. I thought to have a problem. So it could be, I thought, that their autonomic balance is just on that tail where it's too much in the dark alley and not enough in that rest and repair mode. And I thought, well, how would I change that? Well, there was a process called, it's a more complex thing, a Wilbarger approach, where you actually stimulate through tactile sensations one system of your body for deep pressure proprioception to override the autonomic arousal of itch, tickle, and scratch. It's a much easier way to do it today than what we did back in the late 1990s. And could I then shift these children? And in a matter of 6 weeks, they were in a special school because they were so incorrigible with their behaviors. Many of them were going back to the regular schools. Their attention improved, their hyperactivity decreased, their oppositional behaviors decreased. They were making better choices and their family lives improved.
So is this about breathing control to reduce stress or to refocus?
Well, this was actually using a neurologic mechanism to tickle, if you will, a little interconnecting neuron that would reset their base point. And it was using a brush system, deep pressure proprioception stimulation. But yes, you are absolutely correct in that you can use your breath as well. When they have a thing called resonant breathing, which is between 5 or 6 breaths, second inhales and 5 to 6 second exhales, actually resets your body. And even more important, It resets this lovely little almond-shaped thing in your temporal lobe called your amygdala.
A what? How do you spell
amygdala, Amygdala. And this little thing is a pattern matching machine. And the pattern matching also becomes important in the neural change solutions concept, which we'll get into in a bit. Because we are pattern matchers in nature, in order for us to process all the information that we take in through all our senses, we have to condense it down to bundles of information. What is familiar to us? What do we recognize? And then we also look for what's familiar because that makes us feel the most comfortable. And so if we are continually in hyperarousal, we will actually be looking for evidence in our life to reaffirm our identity as being in hyperarousal. Out of all the environment, we will scan and pick this out. And that's a function of the amygdala. When you do that breathing technique and calm your body down neurologically, you actually reset that amygdala to start looking for better opportunities in your life instead of the fight or flight.
So I got a question about habits.
Yes.
I've got a habit, a bad habit. And so how do you get control of that and say, oh, I want to change that. I want to do something else?
Well, you absolutely can, because a habit is just an unconscious set of automatic thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that are acquired through frequent repetition. And so we've repeated it so much in our brain that it becomes conditioned in our bodies. And by the conditioning in our bodies, it becomes the habits of our future. We are going to respond to things in a habitual way. You're going to be driving up someplace that you love, and you're going to have the habit of that emotion coming up in you. You're going to be driving someplace, let's say that you're just not really into showing up at work, and you're just pulling in your parking spot, and you're going to have your body's already getting prepared for that emotional turmoil in advance of it already happening. And we call that taking a familiar past to make a predictable future.
So you're going to rewire, you're going to like reboot.
You have to. In order to make sustainable change, you can't just, you are much more likely to have success if you have that new thought, and you make the new choice, and then you do a new action and behavior, which then creates a new experience, and that new experience creates a new emotion. And now that emotion is going to create more neural networks in your brain that's going to enrich that experience for you, and you're going to remember it differently. You're going to start integrating. We call that going from thinking to doing to being.
So you don't have to be stoned to do this. You can just relax and just find a way to focus on something else.
Well, actually, when we teach about our brainwaves and what the different function of our brainwaves are, and we look at what's going on in our brain at their different points in time. So in our waking day, we're in beta brainwaves, but we're not always in just beta. We could be in low range. Yeah, I'm sort of paying attention. Mid range. Oh, I better start paying more attention. To high, to like, what the heck is going on here? And when you're in that high range beta, no new information that doesn't match what you already are thinking about could enter, because now is not the time to have a conversation about something new. When you're in high range beta, you are in the survival mode. And this is the conversation where you're trying to talk to someone and they keep coming up with the yes, but, yes, but. They're not hearing you because neurologically they can't. And neurologically, we can't hear ourselves either when we're in that high range beta. So you have to learn how to settle your brain down and through the beta brainwaves into alpha. And alpha, now we're starting to get a little bit more into our internal self. And we're starting to see things more in pictures and images rather than in the words. We're opening up our creative side. When you're in flow, Ed, let me ask you this. Have you ever been so engrossed in a project that you lose all track of your environment, your body, and time?
Yeah.
And then you look up and it's like, whoa, it's this time already. You forgot about the ache in your back. You forgot about all the activities going around. You were in that state of creation. You have allowed yourself to modify your brain waves And how that happens is you've got this wonderful thing called your frontal lobe. And you ask it a question. What's the best expression of myself today? And through our metacognition, through our self-awareness, we start piecing together all the information about us. We start scanning all our experiences and our knowledge to piece together a new creative self. And within that new creative self, to do that, we are lowering down the stimuli from our environment, body, and time. Our brain is saying, look, guys, I got something really important going on here. And like a big CEO, it says, close the doors. I'm hunkering in for something really big to happen. And we could do that at any moment in time. I had one vice chancellor of a college down in the South. And when I went to go meet with him, he said, can you help me stay in creation? This is what I want to do. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so I used the principles of neural change solutions for him to understand how he's getting pulled out of that creative mode. We get pulled out by our environment. Let me explain. We have a neural network for everything in our environment. So this pen, I have a neural network for this pen. I see it, and I remember when I got it. I remember the emotions. I remember all these other things. For every person, place, and time, our brain is constantly flooded with all the memories of the past and all these neural networks. So to change then, you have to think greater than your environment. And your body has all these emotions that come up automatically by habit, by conditioning. Let me explain. You have an experience that raises an emotion quotient of a significant level that your brain takes an image, like a snapshot. And then you have that image and an emotion. And then you have the memory and emotion. And you keep firing it. The memory, you keep thinking about it. You keep thinking about it. And you have that emotion. Pretty soon, you don't even need the memory, and you just have the emotion. And you've conditioned your body to carry that emotion. And we know people that have carried emotions for years, and that has become part of their identity.
Right. They think they need it.
Well, neurologically, they do. The receptors on their cells have been so accustomed to that stew that they've created from the combination of emotions of victimization or guilt or worry or fear. And all of these create a certain chemistry within us. And the cell becomes so used to it that when you're not firing it, it goes, hey, we have an agreement here. You're supposed to feed me my chemistry so that you can remember who you are. And when we drift away from that, we scan our environment for something to remind us of that emotion. So I love to use the example of, let's say you're working with somebody in your office. That is, they don't carry their own weight. Everything they do, you've got to recheck. You can't really count on them. And you're just like, oh, I wish this person would just leave. And they leave, and you take those very same emotions and you place it on your stapler to get your emotional fix. Because that's your identity. That's your identity. You're judging. Or you've got somebody who is in a relationship, and everybody around them can say this is not the right person for them. That if Jane and Ralph would just break up, they could self-actualize into their full potential. And they finally do break up, and you're like, yes. And 2 weeks later, they're back in a different relationship with the same personality, just a different haircut. We've all seen this because our cells are wired to go ahead and look for that familiar.
So let me ask you about Zen or yoga in order to calm the mind and search for not meaning, but just some peace in order to try to get to this next level you're describing.
They are beautiful practices. Any practice, Zen, yoga, even going for a walk in nature, and certainly meditation, that removes you, gives you the release of that constant chatter of your familiar past running into a predictable future, you're missing the most important piece of your life, which is the present moment.
Mm.
When you can connect to that elegant present moment, that's where true creation occurs. And so every time you settle your body down and you no longer allow that chatter, so you're trying to meditate, you're trying to settle in, you're doing yoga, you're even going for a walk, and you notice, why am I thinking about this thing? Stop it already. And you bring your mind back. You are taking control back from your body, because it's your body that is keeping you in the past. Those cells are looking for their fix.
And now a word from our co-sponsors. You know, our programs wouldn't happen without the wonderful support of our advertisers. Here they are.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic, because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them, because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice, at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
Cube Monk, featuring the world's first smart cube. Track your goods with our advanced GPS system. Welcome to the future of moving and relocation at cubemonk.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by heirs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at heirs.com.
Insured Nomads provides protection and peace of mind, with health insurance, travel insurance, group, or tailored insurance for the globally mobile. Visit us at insurednomads.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Hi, my name is Christine. I'm a nurse from the Philippines, and I got to know IAS through Worldwide Health Staff Solutions, and I want to thank IAS, especially to Matthew, for helping me get my car stress-free, headache-free. And so just want to show you the car that I got. So it's a RAV4 XLE 2020.
As an expat moving to the USA, relocating is exciting, but it can also be stressful. Getting a car, truck, or SUV for personal transportation is usually a high priority. That's where International Auto Source comes in. We make getting the vehicle you want for your work assignment or academic program easy, so you're ready to drive when you arrive. Our product specialists have helped over 50,000 expatriates with their personal transportation needs, making us the largest international auto retailer in the world. International Auto Source gives you flexible payment options to buy, lease, or rent a vehicle from the world's leading auto brands, arrange financing on a purchase or lease without a U.S. credit history, social security number, or driving record, get full insurance coverage, and get approved easily through our low-rate factory-backed financing programs. And because we're an authorized distributor of the world's leading automotive brands, our no-haggle prices are competitive, and the buying experience is hassle-free. We'll even guarantee your new vehicle will be ready the day you arrive. With over 20 years of experience in the global community, we are the vehicle experts for expats. We are International Auto Source.
So neurochangesolutions.com. This is where people can get to you and learn more. So you've described some fundamental principles here in a very practical way, and thank you for doing that. It's just an application to a business setting in a company where,
Yes.
you know, some people are, say, driven to make the sale. Somebody else is in a power trip and domination over their direct reports. And others are more like you. They're just a wellspring of warmth and guidance. So how should one deal with all these different personalities and stresses coming at them?
Well, once you create the awareness that everything in your environment, every person, everything, every object, even places and times, have a neural network associated with it, and that neural network has an emotion associated with it. By creating that awareness, you can now use the skill of metacognition to think greater than that environment and no longer have an automatic habitual behavior. As it turns out, because we've been conditioned our bodies to become the mind, by the time we're about 35, 95% of us is a set of automatic habits, unconscious emotional reactions, hardwired attitude, beliefs, and behaviors that function like a computer program. We are basically walking around in an unconscious state. So by increasing our awareness, we can then choose how we want to live our life. I have had people just hold their head and go, "You mean I don't have to be this way? You mean I can choose a new way of being?" Serious, huge martial artist, owner of a multi-billion-dollar corporation, being freed from the chains of the past. And a tear forming in his eye.
So people can use this to find a new job or lose weight, right?
Well, you can gain a greater understanding of yourself. And when you go to a new job, you're taking you with it. So how new will it be if you're not taking the old you? Doesn't it make more sense to recreate the new you where you are, find the joy where you are, and then make your decision. Understand where you're at. And if it's not a match, you'll know. But chances are, once you free yourself, you'll reconnect to the mission and vision of where you're at. You could be, so if we think 60 to 70,000 thoughts in one day, and 90% of those are the same thoughts as the day before, then those same thoughts will lead to the same choices, the same actions and behaviors. Those same actions are going to lead to the same experience and the same emotions. But the new choices, new information leads to new choices, yes? New actions and behaviors, new experiences, new emotions. And let's just say you are out at a restaurant and you see somebody who's fully engaged in their work. They're so happy. So they're so happy to even have a job again. They're so happy to be with their friends. You could see their passion, and you remember your passion for why you came to this corporation.
So your mission is to inspire and transform businesses and organizations and people into thriving, cohesive cultures that benefit all stakeholders and make a positive impact. I'm reading this, of course. And so how long does this take? It sounds like it's not an overnight thing, but perhaps it can be if somebody connects with a certain place in themselves.
It is amazing how quick. So there's this guy, Donald Hebb, a Canadian psychologist, and he studied learning. And one of his big laws is the Hebbian law of repetition. Nerve cells that fire together, wire together. Every time you have that thought, you're firing those neurons together. It would make sense then that nerve cells that no longer fire together, no longer wire together. So use it or lose it. And when we teach people through certain tools of how to shift their thinking, how to have through awareness, not analysis, an awareness of what's going on, and then they can choose new choices. And we have the tools and we practice and we have videos and we have discussions and interactive activities so that this is not a 1-hour lecture. This is like between 8 and 12 hours of interaction and dialogue and a layered learning. So you pick it up piece by piece by piece. And then my preference is to work with that person weekly for at least 4 weeks. And I'll always tell you, so Ed, how's it going? What's going on with you? Oh, Jan, this happened. And I was going to respond in my old way. And instead I remembered and I did that tool and I responded in my new way. All right. This is about week 2. By week 3 or 4, I say, so Ed, tell me, how's it going? And you go, hey, Jan, this happened. And I responded in this new way. And I didn't even think about responding in my old way. And that's how I know you've gone from thinking to doing to being. You have completely changed your internal state. You've created a new being.
Wow. This is great. I wish we could do longer. This skull session. And I welcome you to come back on Global TV Talk Show and participate in a group discussion or have the next level conversation just with me. Whatever your choice, I'd love to have you involved.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
And your phone number here, let's see, I'm looking right here. 716-906-7481.
Yes. Now, actually, Neural Change Solutions is a global corporation. We have 120 people worldwide, trained by Dr. Joe Dispenza. This is all based on his work, his research. He put together this program, Change Your Mind, Create New Results. It's his science that I'm explaining to you. And we provide it in 5 different languages. So I hope your global participants go to neuralchangesolution.com, tell us what they would like, and we'll provide it for them.
Thanks so much. This has been wonderful and a blessing. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.